Right, good morning and welcome back to the channel. Yeah, back to normal hours today. It is the morning and it's cold, so bikes are warming up. Let's get off. See you down the road in a minute. Yes, thanks for joining me again. Do appreciate it. And yeah, a couple of people mentioned actually about the way I warm a bike up before I ride it off, and do you, mind asking the question, do you do that? Does everybody still do that? I always do. A lot of people say it's unnecessary with fuel injected bikes, but for me, I was always taught to warm an engine up before you rev it. Just a mechanical sympathy thing. Maybe less of a thing these days. I do see some people just tearing off straight away with a cold engine. It gives me the shivers. I can't do it. I just can't do it. But there we go. We're all different. Yes, I always warm my engine up before I move off. I just can't help it. Just the way I am. My dad used to do it. I remember sitting outside the house, him in his car, and we used to have to warm it up before we moved off, much to the annoyance of my mum at the time, who wanted to get off. There you go. So welcome back. Today, we're going to the cafe again today. It's cold. I looked on my app this morning. What is that thing on weather apps where they say 5 degrees but feels like 2 degrees? What does that mean? I sort of know what they mean, but is that a technical thing you put on a weather app? I don't know. Anyway, this morning I think it's saying 4 degrees. Or what it should say is 4 degrees feels like bloody freezing, to be honest, because it does. It really is nippy this morning. Right, we'll go this way. We'll go left today. It's feeling very, very cold indeed. Right then, had an interesting thing happen at work, which I'll quickly just tell you about, bike related. A young man came up to me, I know well. His name's Shane, smashing lad. He's not mobile yet. He hasn't got a car or motorcycle or anything. And he came to me and said, started flicking through his phone. Said, Dave, look. And he's flicking through his phone trying to find pictures. And I said, what? And he said, I bought myself a motorbike. I said, what? He said, yeah, I decided over a space of a weekend to get myself a motorbike, and I booked my test, my whatever you call it, CBT, compulsory basic training. Yeah, that thing anyway that we have to have in the UK. So I booked that. And I bought myself a motorbike on the same weekend. I said, so you bought a bike without haven't even got your licence yet? Yep. You know what young people are like. And the excitement on his face, he was glowing. And then it occurred to me, as he was trying to scroll through his phone to find these pictures, I thought, bearing in mind a video I made recently, I thought, it's going to be Chinese, isn't it? I just know it's going to be Chinese. And of course it was. But I kept smiling. You know I'm not the greatest fan of Chinese bikes, but it was really interesting actually, and it gave me a different perspective. He was so enthusiastic. Apparently he'd shown this bike, it turned out later, to a number of people, and they'd all had a go at him and said, it's Chinese, it's crap, you don't want that. But I was very positive about it, because at the end of the day, it's a young fella and he's starting out. And the bike he showed me was this one. I'll put a picture on the screen. It's a Keeway. I think it's an RV something 125. I'll put the details up anyway. But I said, oh wow. And I meant wow as well, because I think it looks absolutely amazing. You can't argue with the looks of it, can you? And I've got no idea of the quality of this bike. I'm sure it will serve him well. At the end of the day, it's got a warranty and it will serve him well. So I was very enthusiastic, and he did thank me afterwards for not having a go at it and for being enthusiastic, which was nice. because my first thing was, I said, right, I'll take you up the calf. You can follow me up the calf, or I'll follow you, whatever, and we'll go out for a ride. And he went, yeah, great. Will you? I said, yeah, of course. So that cheered him up, and he's so excited about this bike. And it brought back memories of me when I had my first bike. We've all been there, haven't we? And it's just so exciting. But I was looking closer at this bike, and as I said, it made me rethink the Chinese. Well, not rethink it, but as I alluded to, I think in my video on the Chinese bikes, you can understand why people buy them for looks alone and for what you get for the money. And this thing, as you could see, I'll show some more pictures. Hopefully I can find a set of pictures of it. It looks absolutely amazing. He's obviously into the Harley Davidson type thing. That's where he's coming from, a cruiser angle. He's got some people he knows have got Harleys, so obviously that style of bike is what he was going for. And looking at this, doesn't it look amazing? I mean, I don't like Chinese bikes, but I have to admit, it looks incredible. It doesn't look like a 125. And he said to me that's part of the reason he didn't want something tiny. He's quite a big lad, and he didn't want something tiny. He wanted something with some solidity about it. I understand that. And this was the only option for him. The minute he saw it, he said, that's for me. And I completely get it. And I'll support him. And hopefully he'll have a fantastic experience with it. But if you look closer at it, actually, I didn't realise until I looked closer at the pictures, it's actually a V-twin, a 125 V-twin. And you just can't get that, can you, except a Chinese bike now. There used to be, because it reminded me of a Yamaha that was out decades ago now. What was it called? Was it the XV 125? They used to make a little twin. It was the smaller brother of the Virago, the 535 V-twin Virago. But they don't make it anymore. No Japanese manufacturer makes a V-twin 125 anymore, to my knowledge anyway. So there we go. Smashing little bike, and I completely understand why he's gone for it. Look out for the video, because I told him I'll video him riding it when I take him to the calf, and I'll have a little ride on it myself. He said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. So look out for that, a test on the Keeway V-twin 125 coming on the channel soon. He hasn't got the bike yet. It's coming the end of the month, so probably be more towards the summer. I'll go for take him up the calf. So that'll be an interesting video coming up. I just wanted to thank everybody for the replies on the Royal Enfield thing. A couple of people, actually 99% of people, agreed with what I said, actually, to be honest. A couple of people thought I was having a go at RE's bikes, which I'm not at all. Did actually point out to somebody that a video I did a while back on my eBay watch list included a Hunter, which I think is a smashing little bike, and it's one I was even considering buying. I ended up thinking that I wouldn't use it. The sort of journeys I do, the 350 really isn't quite quick enough for me, but I've certainly got nothing against the bikes. I was just trying to say that I noticed a change in attitude towards the brand amongst YouTubers and people in general, and as I said, I think the honeymoon period for the brand is possibly over. A couple of people made some fascinating comments, and really good comments actually, that of course originally Royal Enfield were in the opposite position. They were roundly disliked by people and laughed at and that, because some of the earlier bikes were really not very well built and quite unreliable, and they had to fight against that when they started to make more modern machines. Started with the Interceptor and the 650s, and then the 350J platform came out, and they had to sort of turn people's attitudes around initially. And that's quite true, they did, and they did a fantastic job of it. But I just think that in that, it sort of went a little bit too far, if you know what I mean. And people sort of, some of the fanboys of the brand were making unfair comparisons to some of the brands. That's all I'll say, particularly Triumph, because obviously the Interceptor and the Bonneville were being compared directly as if they were the same bike, and yet the Interceptor was £2,000 less. And to me that just wasn't a fair comparison, but there we go. I won't go on about that. Been there, done that. But thanks so much for all your comments. Huge amount of views on that actually. Really popular, so do appreciate everyone that watched and commented. We've got a Prius here. Was it a taxi? It's a taxi, isn't it? Yeah. Busy guy. Yes, in amongst a couple of negative comments, and it was very few negative comments actually on the video I've had lately. Well, not negative, but a little bit critical. Some people pointed out, well, the CL isn't the prettiest looking bike in the world. There were a couple of quite funny comments actually, and I'll be honest, I understand what people are saying. I don't think it's the prettiest bike in the world either. And people said about the exhaust, what on earth, or the muffler, as I said, the American version of the name. We call it a silencer over here, or end cam. But actually muffler is a better description, I'll be honest. But people had a go at that, saying what on earth were Honda thinking about. I get it, because when I first saw the bike I was a bit nonplussed by the design. But I will say about the CL, it's a design that grows on you, and when you start to, it's interesting, when you start to actually, you've used it for a while, and visually it's become sort of implanted, shall we say. It's weird, but when I look at other bikes, excuse me, I'm going to have to cough here. Yes, when you look at other bikes, after being used to the CL as much as I am now, some of them look a little bit bland. That's strange, isn't it? Now, I'm a big Triumph fan. I love Triumph motorcycles, and I think the new 400s, very pretty, great looking bikes, but, and there's a but coming here, maybe it's because I'm so used to looking at the CL being quirky and different, but when I look at the 400s, there is that slight, yeah, they're really pretty, there's no doubt about that, beautifully finished, very pretty looking bikes, but I think the word is a pastiche. They're a little bit bland, a little bit unimaginative. Can I say that? There's something about them that just makes me go a little bit, Nothing new about this design, nothing really fresh. Beautifully executed, don't get me wrong, and I'd quite happily have one, quite happily. But there is something a little bit staid and a little bit, as I said, a pastiche. They've used elements from other bikes, the traditional British look, and sort of put them all together. It's just something a little bit lacking to me. I don't know what it is. Don't know, do you agree, or am I talking nonsense? I might be, but there's something about them. I might do a video on that actually, and try and get to the bottom of the way I feel about them. But I'm not 100% convinced. Anyway, that's it. I've run out of time. Hopefully a few people will be turning up at the cafe. Oh dear, I hate it when I have to stop here, because it was right here that my friend on his Himalayan got rear-ended and wrote the bike off, and ended up in the hospital. I hate having to stop there. So anyway, there we go, that's all from me. I think I'll have to park down here by the National Grid today. I will see you next time. Thanks very much for listening, and take care. I'll see you in a bit. Bye for now.